Well, good afternoon, YouTube. I am in the midst of a dilemma. Um, if y'all know your steering columns, this isn't the one for an '05 or an '01. No, it did not mean I got a new truck, but here's the steering column out of this truck, the '05. Sorry for the bad focus. Its camera does absolute horseshit quality at night for being an S20 Ultra with the super 108 megapixel camera. Well, I can tell you my Note 10 did a hell of a lot better job than this thing ever will. So, warning if you're looking at the S20. Stick with what you got. It's probably better. So, almost everything about the steering columns are identical. I know it doesn't look like it too much. This one's cocked down because I was playing with stuff. But if I can get it there. Besides, it's springing up to high heaven. And this one's on a lever. So, almost everything's identical. Believe it or not. The electronics are a little different. Where this has two plugs. This one and this one. Where this one has three plugs. A bing, bing, and a bing. Right? Got a bigger button. Cool. Whatever. Then we've got, this is for the horn, I believe. This one's a little bit smaller than this one. So I'm not going to be able to use, my biggest problem right now is I don't have an airbag for this truck, for the steering column. That was going to be my biggest problem. That's almost the least of my worries at the moment. With having a different, because this unfortunately, okay, so I got a million different ideas and thoughts and what's going on running through my head because there's differences. If you could tell one right off the bat, you've got your two mounting points up here, two mounting points there. They're in the exact same spot, the exact same width, the exact same plane, okay? The rear ones. You could see the steering wheel being pretty straight. That's a really cocked bracket, okay? And yes, that fell out. They were just loosely sitting there. They're supposed to be glued in there, but I think one had broken off or something. And the glue had popped out or whatever. So, whatever. Anyway. But that one is flat. It's flush with the front one. And it's further up. Now, that's a big problem. The shaft, we may have been able to getting to work. I think it's just a hair a bit longer, but the shaft that, that goes in here is an extendable shaft. It retracts and extends. You have to push it in order to get the steering column out. Well, if you do it the way I did it, and then pull it up to put it inside. So that's not a big deal. That, I think, would have worked just fine. Surprisingly, almost everything's the same. The shafts are the same diameter. I have an intermediate shaft on my bench, a brand new one, a Borg, was it Borg Warner? I don't know. It was a really expensive one I haven't put in yet. That fixes the intermediate problems that the older trucks have. But it fit in here beautifully. I mean, flawlessly. So that's not such a problem. Obviously, the shifters are identical. It came out of an 2018, but of the older body style. I think 2018 was a changeover year, 18 and a half for the new GMCs and Silverados. But anyway, the shifters are identical. Same 6-speed transmission for the most part. The plugs are different, believe it or not. For some reason, I mean, this plug is pretty iconic. It's used throughout these older trucks. Now the newer one, it's similar, but it's also different. It's smaller, uses smaller pins, and it's just got a different design, so it won't plug in on the older truck. But so swapping the shifter, not a big deal, but because it is pretty much the same exact Allison transmission, the shifter linkage and the way that operates, they're identical. That is great. That's awesome. I don't have to touch that. I just got to swap the shifter wand for the plug. And then I was hoping I was going to be able to use the 2015 style key because why not, man? Why not, right? And it's even got a wheel lock, which is pretty cool. I think it's added security, whatever, man. But then we come into the issue of electrical components on between the two ignitions. This is a 3-pin plug. Okay, this is a 2-pin. Now, granted, this isn't into the aluminum; it's just around the cylinder. I don't know if it's to detect. I'm assuming it's for detecting a chip in this guy or something like that. But this guy is almost identical to what fit in right here that I took out. It's part of the clock, the wiring clock spring. Is it part of the clock spring? I don't know. But that guy is almost identical. It's still 2 wires. But then we come down to this guy. Both of those 2 things run into this guy, and then this is a 3-pin. But this does not utilize that. But what's also cool about these 2, if I can do this without breaking stuff, I need to flip it over, is the shape of this electron, because this is what tells the truck, you know, I'm flipping the ignition to accessory, to run, to start. This is what does that. This is when you flip it to crank the engine, this controls that. And the shape at which this fits in here is identical to the shape of which this one is in here. Now, that's awesome. I mean, the switch is obviously a little bit different, not hugely, but the hole is the same. And the geometry and the shape of the blinker is the same. They mount the same. The ignition housing stuff is almost identical to this. It mounts the same. They use the same holes. I mean, you look here, you look here, you know, the shape is a little slightly different, but it's almost identical. I mean, even though this whole thing looks like it's cocked all the way over, this is more straight, but the switch is cocked over. So, you know, I was so ready to do this because some guy on Facebook, and I'm not going to give his name away, but he was talking on, I think, a Duramax forum or something. Somebody had asked the question, can I put a 2015 Silverado steering wheel in my truck? And this guy posts a picture of a 2015 steering wheel in his 05-ish style pickup. And I'm like, no way. That's pretty cool. You know, the main reason I'm going after all this is for the heated steering wheel function. Now, it's a lot of work. I know there's going to be a lot of people. I don't give a rat's ass what your ideas are, okay? I want the heated steering wheel. That's my main goal. You can even look. It was almost made for a wheel lock. So I have the 20. This is off the 01 when I first was doing the 05 column and the 01. But here's the 2015 steering wheel. Now, it doesn't have the heated steering wheel function, unfortunately, but it was a loaded loaded column. It came with the steering wheel, the blinker, the shifter. It came with everything. And then the column cover, it's just sitting in the other part of the shed right here. But came with a key. Awesome. We're set to go. Should be able to just pretty well throw it in. And then I saw this. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And I didn't pay attention to this. I totally forgot. Everything was cattywampus in there. But my idea now was... You can see that this bracket is just welded along here. I was going to cut that weld, so I just had the bracket. I was going to mount the bracket in the truck, bolt it up, and then stick this column in here. And then, obviously, you can see the problem right now, a steel bracket, aluminum column. You know, they swapped from steel to aluminum. And they swapped to a vastly superior column bearing. And I don't know, I know you can see it's busted, but you can hear that. There's, well, okay, I take that back. Right now the column's getting pushed out. The bearing's falling apart, so, because I pushed the shaft. But anyway, it is a vastly superior column bearing, besides the fact it popped apart because I was pressing on it and everything else. But there's zero slop. So that is vastly better. This was also on it. Let's see here. Get this stuff back there. Because it's going to get put back together. I'm probably just going to end up selling the column, the wheel, the whole 9 yards because can't use it in my truck. But This has a steering angle sensor, and I don't remember which way it went. Don't know that it matters. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Probably does. Could tell you. Oh well, it's going on there one way or the other. So anyway, that's mainly just to house the steering wheel position sensor, and then a little black cap to go on the back. I know, it's kind of painful to watch, trust me. I'm trying. Okay, so then this guy went on there like that. So I already knew that was different, but I saw the screws up here, and I was like, I could take that off. Maybe this will swap off, the aluminum piece, and we'll just, and that's what I thought, we'll cut that off, weld that, then stick the column up there and ticky-tacky a couple times, and then pull the column back out with the bracket on, and then fully weld it on. Nope. Now this is a tilt and telescoping wheel, so it comes in and out as well as pivots up and down. I was hoping that it was going to be electronic, but yeah, unfortunately they cheaped out, and let's just give a manual. That's good enough. Now I haven't tried this yet, so we can try it, because I do want to do a 2015 style wheel. It's just, let's see here. It's moving around on me. Where's the up and down on this thing? There's a little slit there you can see. It's going to line up with the little arrow in there. Okay, come on. Like that. So let's see, it should push back. I don't know. It's supposed to fit on there. Maybe it's already on. Who knows? Just put the nut on type of thing, right? Yeah, I think that's as far on as she goes. But the fact that that fits on there is pretty cool. I'm just gonna test fit it in the truck just to see what it feels like. But yeah, so that's a 2015 steering wheel on a 05 column. It's doable. Now I've priced out a clock spring. Not a big deal. I can get one for $40 or so. The problem is that I'll just show you. Okay. This is where I thought when I was doing my column swap, I bought a brand new column and everything, and they cut the damn clock spring wires. I was like, why? So then I was like, why? This looks like this should be a plug, shouldn't it? This should just be a plug that unplugs, from the bottom. That'd be great, right? That'd be a great idea. Well, here they did that on the 2015 style trucks, and I don't know, probably after 07 and up, maybe they went to an unpluggable, and maybe not till 2011 or 2012 or 2014. I don't know, whenever they did it, but the clock spring unplugs from the wiring harness. So then I was left, then I need the wiring, because almost every steering column I could find came minus the clock spring. So that's a bummer. But I managed to find something online, a wiring diagram of sorts, to where they showed the plug number, the design number or the model number of that plug. So I ordered one, and I'm hoping it comes with pigtails. So what I'm going to end up doing, because that clock spring, that clock spring, not this one. Obviously, the steering wheel plugs in here for your steering wheel switches, and then your airbag. Okay, the new clock spring has the airbag, and then on the top, directly above this, I guess, angled plug, is another angled plug that comes up. And I'll show you on the new steering wheel where this plug plugs into the top of that clock spring. So that's going to work. This is for the steering wheel switches, which the only ones you're going to be able to use are the volume and channel switches back here. So, and then the airbag comes through here. And then on the airbag, I believe, is a horn wire. Or no, these are the horn switches right there. Okay, so I'm going to have to figure out what's what. But I got that plug. I'm hoping it comes with a bit of wire, and then I'm going to manually wire everything. The steering wheel with switch signal, the horn, and then the airbag is going to on the clock spring to where it plugs in. Now, pretty sure this wire's buried in the truck somewhere. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure the airbag wire goes down and behind here, but the plug style is going to be different. But what I'm hoping is that, because I've gotten fairly good at this, is like coming on the back side of the plug, or actually on the front side, and releasing the pins. I'm hoping the pins are the same between the new clock spring and the old clock spring, and I'll just swap the pins over because it's still a 2-pin airbag. 2-pin on the new airbag. The main problem with doing this mod right now is that a brand new style 2015 airbag is anywhere from $475 to $875. I paid $100 for the loaded steering column, $102 after tax. Okay, not bad, but the airbag is like, holy shit, because this airbag is only $35 anywhere used online. Now, if you can pay more for it, obviously, but I found the cheapest I've been selling, because I still have one spare one, I believe, $35. Cheap, cheap, cheap. So why the heck do you tack on another $400 plus for an airbag? I don't understand it, but whatever. So that's the biggest holdup. Obviously, the other biggest problem was not having a heated steering wheel. That was the biggest point I was getting after. I want the heated steering wheel option. I could buy a brand new steering wheel, brand new OE, for $165 before tax. And that's great. That's awesome. And then I was going to wire up the heated wire switch to a switch on the dash or something, so that way I could just flip it on, have a nice toasty steering wheel while I'm driving down the road. That's going to be nice, right? So, I tell you, I was even willing to go as far as finding this plug online and seeing if maybe I could wire up, all those wires to the new plug, because I'm pretty sure they have this turn signal stock with cruise control, because this one's got cruise, this one does not. Find one with cruise and be able to use this newer style and whatnot and make it all work and everything copacetic. No, I'm just at a dead halt right now because this just will not fit on the truck. I'd have to cut this ear off is what I figured, but at the moment I can't even get this plastic in the truck, how it comes down so far. Now I was thinking, well, I'll just cut that plastic out, because that plastic is part of the bearing. I'm not deleting the bearing. That's the other main reason I wanted to go to a new column with a vastly superior column steering column bearing. I wouldn't have to worry about the rattly jiggly shit going down the road that these trucks suffer from. So, win, minus one. I don't know, but now we're at just minus losing. So I'm not blowing $500 on an airbag. I got other stuff going on. So that's the biggest problem we're running into right now. Otherwise, I would have an airbag and clock spring and wiring it up. And I haven't even gotten the plug yet. So ordered it, just haven't gotten it yet. So, but that's kind of like a PSA, right? Public service announcement for people that want to do a 2015 steering column or steering wheel in their truck. Now, obviously, once I get an airbag and a steering wheel and we're going to be installing it and wiring it up, I'll tell you, I'll show you, whatever. But this is just you don't necessarily need to go out and buy a steering column unless you're going to do some complete and utter sketchy botchery to get this thing in the truck. Because I got a nasty suspicion that guy did whatever he had to, because he said he did a whole column swap. Well, I don't want to know what you did to get that in there. And I asked him, and he didn't tell me. He just kind of quit responding. I was like, well, great, I'm on my own then. Because I confronted him. I sent him the pictures of, the column that's over there, but, the column design. I'm like, that's the main problem back there. Those two are different. What did you do? I got a feeling he only uses 2. That's it. Obviously, GM thought you needed 4 mounting bolts to hold the thing in place, not 2. So Obviously, you can make do, but I'm not gonna make do. And you know what I'm actually thinking right now? My brain wheels are turning. Can you imagine that? So, I might be able to make that work. Believe it or not. Not these, but this. Taking this, cutting off the unnecessary amount, whatever it is, whatever portion that is, cut the ears off of the aluminum, and do my idea still, but cut this bracket off, mount it in the truck, have this mounted on here, screwed down, and then see if this will reach and be flush enough with that, like welded on top of it, that I might be able to get something like that to work. Because all this is supposed to do, I think, is to hold a wire. I think that's all that does. So it's not the end of the world if that roundish part goes away. That doesn't mount to anything, obviously, on this steering column. The wheels are turning. That is a project for tomorrow. But very interesting nonetheless. That just occurred to me looking at that, because I'm like, Let me get the other column, because this one's fricked up. So that's not. It's full of stuff, and I can't get it right next to it. So, but very interesting. So obviously, if they're sitting on the same plane, which kind of not, there now they're pretty well sitting on the same plane. I might be able to get this something to work here. Could you believe that? But before I get my hopes up too much here, let's look in here. I think I'd end up having to shave these ribs down, because that mounting thing going across and then that plate coming down to the top of that, I'd have to probably cut these out of here or something. That to me wouldn't bother me too bad if that's all I had to do. That's all I had to do. But there's my guy down there, and it pulls up and out. Goes in and out, I should say. So, oh lordy, can you imagine? But I figure this guy should fit on there. Now, I'm getting into the whole debate dilemma stuff right now, because Dad's like, well, years ago we drove without airbags, we turned out just fine. And it's like, yeah, it's all fine and dandy, but now we know airbags can help save your life. So, there's that debate. So I'm like, well, you know what? Going with his idea, if I just use the steering wheel, if I get a heated steering wheel, do all that minus the airbag for now, I'm still going to have an airbag light, which is going to deactivate the airbag system, which means if I have a passenger, we were to get in an accident, passenger airbag will not go off with that airbag light on. So not only am I putting my life in jeopardy, I'd be putting my passenger's life in jeopardy. That kind of dilemma is what's hitting me. And I know there's going to be a lot of people, oh, don't give a fuck about your passenger. Everybody's got their own thoughts, but, I don't know. That's just the things running through my mind. But that might just work. By golly, we might have done it. Oh, I'm so... That's kind of bugged me. If I don't try it, I don't know what, but we got to try that. So, I just cut along here, along both, and then take you know, that, and set it on top of here wherever this lines up in the truck, and zit, 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 and then pull it back out and do a bzz, bzz, you know, with the welder, and bippity boppity boop, we're in business. So, hot dang, I think we might actually have something. So, but either way, there's a lot of fudgery going on. I'd have to swap the ignition over, and I don't know if that's going to get rid of this guy or keep this guy on, or what holds this guy on. I don't know. Would that matter? It might matter. I don't know. You're going through this with me right now. If you're seeing something I'm not, but because the electronics part, I think, and I'm not 100% sure. I know for a fact that when the diesels, not the gas engines, when the security light is on, you can still start the engine. I've done it multiple times when I've done before I've done security relearns. I did column swaps or even disconnected the electrical connector. For some reason that messes with the security. You got to do another 30-minute relearn procedure. But I know when the security light is on, you're able to start it. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to wire stuff up here, and I don't know what this is, even if I could get this electronic stuff to work. Obviously, for now, I can swap this over with the old one and be perfectly fine. The shifter, same thing. And then this guy, I really want the steering wheel lock, but I just don't know about the electronics. You know, I'm wondering if I could, you know, splice that with the one that's supposed to be on there, but I mean, then we got a 3-plug something or other, and there's only 2 things with 2 wires. There's not one with 3 wires. Why there's 3 wires, I don't know. That's what's bugging me too. It's like, why is there a 3-pin freaking dealy bop here? Because there's the 2-pin, there's a 2-wire, and then we got a 3-wire. Why? But then this plugs in the bottom of the ignition. This is, all 3 of these are for the turn signal wipers. That's for turn signal wiper. And yeah, and then this is for shifter. This is for other part of the shifter. There's the black thing down by the lever action. And like, that stuff's not a problem. I didn't even check to see if those were identical. This guy 2-pin, and that guy 2-pin. So this is probably the exact same part number between the two. So that's not even a problem. Like I said, shifting mechanisms are identical between the two. It's just you need the shifter wand. It's the only part. But I'm thinking I'm going to have to swap this whole ignition piece. Interesting. So I hope this is a little insight and gives you some ideas. And, you know, stay tuned for more, because I'm sure as hell going to try doing that on that, just to see if it'll work. I'm not going to botch this one up yet. I'm just going to take this one and hack up this guy. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. And then obviously the plastic, if this fits with that and whatnot, then I'll shave the plastic, cut the ears off. We'll do all that. But I got to get those 2 attached before I do anything. And this one was in the scrap pile, so this one's going bye-bye either way, so I don't really give a crap what happens to it. So hope this helps. Stay tuned for more, because it's about to get better, hopefully. But I was going to throw this back in the truck quick just to see how this new steering wheel felt, because I'm curious if this is going to be a, ooh, wow, nice, yeah. So, because the steering wheel, I think on this one, it's a lot. Well, of course, and what I've done is I put the steering wheel cover on there to have the extra, you know, grip, because I think the steering wheel's skinny or otherwise. So, but and this is the horn wire. So that the other steering wheel had 3 horn contacts. That's where this goes through into that white piece, black piece on the old clock spring right here. Goes through there and attaches, but I need the airbag in order to make the new steering wheel go beep beep. So, alrighty, like I said, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. God bless.